Hello, my name is Ty Wilson. I'm Georgia workers' compensation attorney practicing law in the state of Georgia. And today, what we're going to do is we're going to get on the computer and take a look at some forms. We'll start with what is called a first report of injury, also known as a WC1. So, without further ado, let's get to the computer here. So, what we've done, actually, I'm going to back up a second. We went and typed in Georgia State Board of Workers' Compensation on Google. This is what it pulls up. And if you go to forms, and then you go down to board forms, and here it lists out all the forms with a workers' compensation claim. And maybe we'll go through several of them and explain what their purpose is and what their meaning is for someone who's been injured on the job. Sorry about that. So what we're looking for and looking at today, I should say, is the employer's first report of injury. So on a WC1, let's click that, open it up, downloads. And this is a little overwhelming at first. This is a Georgia form. And how you know it's a WC1 is it says it up here, and most Georgia forms have the number and the form at the bottom. As you can see, this was last revised in July of 2021. It is called the Employer's First Report of Injury or Occupational Disease. So let's take a look at this, and really more importantly, let's determine what is important. If you're an injured worker, why do you need to know about this form? Well, this is the form that the employer should create and then turn over to the insurance company. When he does that, that will start the claim for your Georgia workers' compensation claim. So most of this stuff, board claim number, well, that's not established yet. Employee last name, that should have your information. Most of this is very self-explanatory. Your date of birth, your phone number, your email, your mailing address, and then the employer's information. Insurance company, the employer will have that information. That's not something you need to worry about. Wage. This is something that you want to keep an eye on. You want to make sure that it's proper, because if it's improper, it could affect how you're paid through workers' comp. And so if you can get a copy of the first report of injury or the WC1, that would be beneficial so that you can just double check that the information they're putting in here is correct. It's more about verifying that what they've done is correct. And then if you look here, this is the section that's probably the most important: injury, illness, and medical. All right, so what time? Well, that's obviously going to be an estimate unless that person was right there. County of injury. Well, that should be pretty clear. That should be where you're injured. And if it's out of the state of Georgia, you still may have a state of Georgia claim. It just may be an out-of-state claim, and that would be what was listed here. Excuse me. Date the employer had knowledge of the injury. Well, as an injured worker, you're supposed to notify your employer, supervisor, boss immediately upon injury that you've been injured. There are certain circumstances where they are repetitive injuries where it may not be what we call a precipitating event, meaning you didn't lift something, feel a pop, and then report it. It may be something where it was repetitively used, typing, so forth, where you got carpal tunnel, and it eventually got to the point where you could not do your job. And so if you have any questions about what should be that date of injury, always advisable that you speak with a Georgia workers' compensation attorney. All right, let's get back to it. Enter the first date the employee failed to work a full day. Well, some people get hurt and they finish out their shift and then they don't return. This information is really for the claim itself. All right, did the employee receive full pay on the date of injury? That's simple enough. Did the injury or illness occur on the employer's premises? That's straightforward. Type of injury or illness. Now, this is where it starts getting really, really important, that the information that is locked down is correct. And I'm going to tell you why on this next section. They're going to explain briefly how you got hurt. Okay, that's fine. Or what body parts hurt. The body part affected, which is in this next area, is absolutely critical. We have so many claims where someone fell and they might have hit their elbow, or they might have hit their hip, or they might have hit their head, and they say, yeah, my head is really what's bothering me. Meanwhile, they still got an elbow injury, they still got a hip injury, but it's not on this first report of injury. Well, guess what? This is where the insurance company will fight you and not pay for care for that hip or that elbow. So what's critical when you have something like this is head to toe everything that feels funny or different after you've been injured. If it's just an elbow injury, then it's just an elbow injury. We're certainly not asking you or telling you to make up things, but if something feels funny, there is a possibility that it's directly related to the injury, so you want to include it. You want to be all inclusive and not restricted. You don't want to be, oh, I don't want to complain about everything. It's not about complaining about everything. It's about notifying them of what body parts don't feel right. We've seen time and time again where somebody didn't list a body part that was injured at the original time of the injury, and the insurance company denied it, only for that person to need surgery. And that doesn't necessarily help you in the workers' comp world. So that's the thing that we wanted to point out most. How the injury occurred, that will be you explaining to them how you got hurt. Treating physician, that's if you've seen somebody. Sometimes they don't fill this report out immediately. Sometimes they'll call you in after you've seen either the emergency room doctor or a clinic doctor, and then they'll make an assessment if they think that it's minor, if they think it's more serious. Certainly if someone's hospitalized over 24 hours, that can be more serious. This would be the hospital facility. If you return to work, they can put that in. This is a lot of record keeping for them. The important part of it, as I said, body parts affected, how you got hurt, and the treatment. Let's skip down to section B. Section B is income benefits. This is if you're taken out of work for more than 7 days, it's possible that you could be entitled to income benefits. That would be checks from the workers' compensation insurance carrier, not the employer. So things to think about there is make sure that one, they've got your average weekly wage right. How do you calculate that? Well, we've done another video on that. The short and sweet answer is they take 13 weeks from the day you got hurt and look before, and they average that out, and they come out with your average weekly wage. Then they pay you 67% or 2/3 of that amount. And then, of course, it's capped in Georgia. That capped amount has been going up for the last several years, so we won't reference it here. Speak to a Georgia workers' compensation attorney and find out what the cap is at the time that you get injured, because it is specific to the day that you got injured. So going back to this information is important. Can it be corrected later? Sure it can, but whenever you're not getting income and you need income and they're underpaying you, it's just easier to try to get it corrected right off the bat. Hope this information's been helpful. We hope you'll come check out our other videos. And if you have any specific questions for a work injury claim, drop us a line. Thank you. If you or a loved one has been injured on the job and have questions about what is going on with your claim, feel free to give us a call or reach out. We'll be happy to answer any question we can to help you move along with the claim. Thank you.